Hi everyone, I'm Rosie and welcome to Vox Yoga. Today we're talking all about chakras, the spiritual side, and if there's a scientific side to them as well. So chakras are how our emotions are presented through physical symptoms in the body. So you might have heard about chakras being spinning wheels and different colours, talking about stress or connections to family. But we're going to have a look a little bit deeper, thinking about how they're presented in yoga, but also how we might be able to connect them to what's actually going on physically in the body. So we'll take a little look at the endocrine system as well. So really it's an overview of chakras spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So I'm going to start talking about my approach to chakras and why I wanted to look a little bit further into this. So if you want to skip this, you can just jump to the next chapter. So when I started yoga, I came to it a lot like most people do, for that physical side, getting a bit of movement and flexibility, but also learning a bit more about my breath, trying to calm my mind mentally as well and find a little bit more focus. It wasn't until I did my yoga teacher training that I learned a lot more about the philosophy and the culture and the background and traditions of yoga. I'd always been interested in this, I just didn't know anything about it. I'm also not ashamed or afraid to say that I am an atheist. I don't really connect very spiritually with things. However, there are definitely some things to chakras that there is some truth behind it. I'm sure that when we felt maybe like we don't want to talk about our emotions, we feel a bit choked up, we can feel what is a physical lump in the throat, or it's translating in the body as what we feel is a lump in the throat. And yogis would say that that means that your throat chakra is blocked. So this led me on to wanting to see if there is any sort of scientific link with the chakras in the body. So first of all, I'll give you a bit of background about what chakras are from the yogic perspective, how we might consider thinking about them, and then also looking at the endocrine system and just seeing what it is and how these two systems can relate and be looked at side by side. So chakras are also known as organs of the soul. They're represented as spinning discs, spinning wheels of energy, and are located at points along our spine. There are 7 points, each of them have a different colour, and each of them represents a different type of energy or connection to our emotions. We want each of the 7 chakras to stay open, spinning freely, and we want them all to be balanced throughout the body. If a certain chakra is blocked, often this will tell us or show up in a physical or emotional symptom. So chakras are said to be a physical expression of an emotional experience. I mentioned that feeling of the lump in the throat, but maybe it's also a broken heart. Maybe when we're traveling, we get stomach symptoms. They're not always things that a doctor can prescribe. Western medicine, we tend to look at from the outside in, whereas looking at chakras, we're looking at the inside out. It's the body communicating that we need to listen to our body and see what of these things that we need to address. And some people will say that, oh, well, this chakra is connected to a relationship or something. So if you address your relationship, then your physical or emotional symptom may go away. So moving on to spirituality versus science. It doesn't need to be a versus, let's just look at both sides. I'll start by saying that there is no research scientifically to prove that these energetic wheels and chakras exist. However, there is a really, really close relationship with the endocrine system. So the endocrine system is a network of glands in the body that make hormones and help cells talk to one another. They are responsible for making hormones and regulating our hormones throughout the body. So they're responsible for almost every cell, organ, function in the body. So it could be said that they're there to balance our mind, our emotions, and our physical body, which is very similar to yoga when we think about it. There are many glands throughout the body, but there are 7 main ones that tend to sit along our spine as well. So it could be that these could connect to our chakras. So I'm very simply just going to go over the 7 chakras, say what they represent in yoga and how they might present themselves as a physical symptom from what we believe from chakras, what we're taught through yoga, and then also about the gland in the endocrine system and how this connects to the body physically. You are then welcome to make any connections that you like. And this is, of course, is a tiny little bit of information. So I'm going to pop some interesting articles in the description box below that you may find useful. So let's start with the root chakra at the base of our spine, and this translates as the basis of our existence. So this chakra connects to survival, food, procreation, and trust. We want to feel stable and grounded through this chakra. If our root chakra is blocked, it's said that this can present itself with problems like arthritis, bladder, colon, digestive issues. Emotionally, we may feel that maybe our emotional needs or stability through our family relationships, those things are not being met. So the glands in the endocrine system that connect to this are the gonadal glands, and those are responsible for reproduction and procreation. Next up, we have our sacral chakra, which translates as her favourite standing place. And this sits in our belly, near the pelvis and the reproductive organs. The sacral chakra represents our emotions and our relationships and response to fear as well. So maybe that's feeling fear and emotional with our intimate relationships. So it's said that a blocked chakra in the sacrum can be seen in the surrounding organs, feeling problems with the lower back, or maybe reproductive problems as well, urinary tract infections, things like that. Emotionally, if this chakra is blocked, often we have issues surrounding self-worth, and particularly self-worth in relationships and surrounding things like pleasure. So our adrenal glands are close to this chakra, and those glands are used for regulating our blood pressure, metabolism, but also our response to fear and how the body manages our stress response. Next up, we have the solar plexus, which sits right in the core of our body. And we often connect this to fire, energy, and power. It's often known as the seat of our ego and how we present ourselves to the world. If our chakra is blocked, we may have physical symptoms, maybe that come across as digestive issues, heartburn, indigestion, and things like that. Emotionally, often it's around our self-esteem and our self-confidence, which goes back to our ego. In regards to the endocrine system, this chakra is close to our pancreas. Now, our pancreas produces digestive juices and insulin and really is a vital part of our digestive system. Next up, we come to our heart chakra, and of course this is all about love, but it doesn't have to be about romantic love. It can be about unconditional love. So it's really about seeing that positivity in others without judgment. Our job is not to judge, but only to love, and we can do this by keeping our heart open. So often if this chakra is blocked, it is said that this can show, of course, in heart problems, but also things like asthma, as the lungs are very nearby as well. There's often an emotional block as people tend to maybe put others first, and then they might experience a feeling of maybe loneliness, self-doubt, feeling insecure, or maybe isolated. So this chakra is very close to our thymus gland, and the thymus gland is responsible for our immunity cells. Next up, we have our throat chakra. People often think this is just about our voice, but really it's about our inner voice and communication. We want what comes out of our mouth to be pure, and the chakra itself does translate as purity. The aim is to be able to speak our own personal truth. So it's said if this chakra is blocked, that physically this might come across as voice problems, throat problems, maybe in the jaw, the surrounding areas, or maybe issues with your thyroid as well. Emotionally, again, it's that feeling of that lump in the throat, not being able to express ourselves freely. So, as I said, this chakra is extremely close to the thyroid gland. A lot of the thyroid's function is actually about metabolism and how the body converts food into energy. We then come to the 6th chakra in the 3rd eye, and this is said to be our knowledge or command center. So our real eyes can often only see small things. They don't see the whole picture. So it's said that our 3rd eye is able to be all-seeing and can help to really fill in the gaps of things that are missing. This helps to raise our consciousness in different ways and allow us to see things beyond our limitations. So due to the location, it's said that if we have issues with our 3rd eye chakra, that this can come across in the form of headaches or issues with our eyes. Emotionally, if it's blocked, maybe it's that people are holding back and they're not able to realize things to their full potential. So the location of this is very close to our pituitary gland, and this is one of the main glands that sends hormones to the rest of the body. So it's responsible for things like growth, reproduction, and managing our blood pressure. And it's a bit of a mini command center here itself. Then finally we come to our crown chakra, which translates as 1,000 lotus petals. We want the flower to bloom, and this chakra is all about connecting to the source. We can plug into the source to really connect to the divine as a whole. This helps us to feel consistently empowered, and maybe if we're not plugged into the source or our crown chakra, we start to feel drained, unenergized, and unfulfilled. So this is also known as the master of all chakras. In order for our crown chakra to be balanced, every single chakra in the body does. So it's often said to be the master of all chakras. If we're not balanced in the crown, then it might be that we're feeling extremely drained, really disconnected from the world as a whole. So it tends to translate a little bit more, maybe emotionally, thinking about the body as a whole. This connects really closely to our hypothalamus, and this is a gland in the body that's also known as the master, the command. It secretes hormones to the whole body. It releases hormones to the pituitary gland, which then sends it out to all the other organs in the body. So you could say that the hypothalamus is the master, as is our crown chakra. So this video has given you some information about the chakra system, some information maybe physically, emotionally, but also just thinking about the endocrine system, how maybe you could relate this to your approach to chakras in your practice. I really think when we're approaching yoga, we have to take the bits that work for us. If you're able to connect to chakras spiritually, then that's fantastic and you can make it work for you. If you find that a little bit harder, maybe think about how your emotions present in the body, how you see these as physical symptoms, and does that also connect to your endocrine system? As I said before, I'll link some more articles in the description box. The reason I put out this video as well is because my yoga practices over the next 7 weeks are going to be targeting different chakras. So make sure that you hit subscribe so that you get notified each week when these come out. Yoga is so good for balancing the body, whether that's balancing our emotions or balancing the connection between our mind, our physical body, and our emotions. So let me know if you've got any questions, and I hope to see you again soon.